Okay, we are back on the First and Goal podcast. I'm here with Jacob. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Feeling really good actually after releasing that power rankings video. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like we nailed it
I mean, we disagreed on a little bit, but most of the time we were within I think three spots of each other.
pretty much for the entire thing. Yeah. Other than that, big Thursday night game. We are recording right before the start of the Titans and 49ers. So let's real quick just jump into that because I'd rather have that pick out before the start of the game, and then we'll later on in the show go into the rest. Um, Let me see what the line was, and then I'll re-pull this up. While I pull this up, do you have any news that you have to share?
I mean, like what we said last time, we'll kind of get into the Pro Bowl rosters. I think they also announced alternates today.
That I didn't see yet. 49ers at Titans. 49ers are -3.5. I'm going to take the Niners.
Yeah, I like the 49ers -3.5. Granted, the Titans are both getting back both AJ Brown and Julio this week, but they've both been out for a little bit, and I think the Niners are just playing their best football at this point.
Yeah, I think the Niners have a lot more to play for as well. I think that the Titans are kind of packing it in until Derrick Henry comes back. Obviously, they do get AJ Brown back, and Julio Jones is healthy again after hurting his hamstring last week. So who knows? This game could be closer than I think, but I actually really think it's going to be a 49er blowout. I just think the weapons there are so good, and they have everything clicking right now. Yeah, other news around the league. Pro Bowl snubs. Who's the biggest one that comes to your mind?
I mean, I look through it a little bit, at least Packers wise. I'd say Devondre Campbell was a decent snub. He was kind of the leader of the defense. And the fact that another surprise for me was the fact that I think the Colts had 7 Pro Bowlers, whereas people are talking about the Packers having the best team in football and them having 3.
Yeah, so I think Matthew Stafford for me has to be one of the first names. And then for the Bears, Roquan Smith, he ranks right up at the top with almost every linebacker category. So the fact that he was not one of the 3 linebackers, that middle linebackers, or I think there was only 2 linebackers at middle linebacker. The fact that he was not selected does bother me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Pro Bowl. You know, half the guys are going to be sitting out from it anyway.
Agreed. I'm trying to see if I can find anything on this Pro Bowl alternates, but is there any other real news though around the league?
I mean, Cam Akers is back, so the Rams are just getting healthy at the right time. They're going to have a 3-headed monster come playoff time in that backfield with Michelle, Henderson, and Akers. If Akers can come back healthy, he has 3 weeks to really work into that offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much news to cover. I mean, COVID's still kind of an issue. They almost canceled 3 games last week, as we kind of noted on the power ranking show. I don't know. I feel like everything in the NFL went the way it really should have, other than the Cardinals game last week. So I feel like there's not too much news other than guys will be coming on and off of that COVID list.
Yeah. I mean, people are going to get it at this point. I don't know if you're the NFL, how you treat it. You know, these are some of the healthiest people in the world. They are very low risk. So I don't know.
It's kind of where I feel too. I guess not being the most eventful episode, I guess we can just jump right into picks. And then we'll kind of just talk some random NFL points, I guess. We'll start it off with the Saturday games. Browns at Packers. Packers favorited by 7.5. I think the Browns are just still beat up by COVID. I think the Packers will take care of business at Lambeau.
Yeah, especially if it's cold and in the snow. I mean, Baker plays in a cold environment, but last time I remember him in cold weather, it was against the Chiefs defense that did not look good or was not very good last year. And he did not look very good in the snow. I don't think he looks comfortable in it. So yeah, I like Green Bay minus 7.5. Just because more talented team is going to win.
Colts on the road at the Cardinals. Cardinals coming off a brutal loss. I'm going to take the Colts +1. I feel like the Colts will actually win this game, especially if the Titans lose. I think the Cardinals are starting to go on a downward spiral. And I kind of mentioned that in the power ranking show.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals have lost 2 in a row. I think Hopkins is still out for them. And yeah, I think if Kyler doesn't have his number one option, you can see the difference in the team. He doesn't have a go-to weapon. And if they can take away James Conner, I think it's going to be rough for him. So yeah, I like Indy +1 as well.
Ravens at Bengals. Bengals are favored by 3.5. I don't believe in the Ravens. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson will be back. But I'm going to take the Bengals -3.5 to kind of start bouncing back now a little bit.
Yeah, I like the Bengals -3.5 here too. I saw a stat that Joe Burrow has the most deep ball touchdowns this year in pro football, and the Ravens have a really beat up secondary. So I think Chase and Boyd, as well as Higgins, Uzama are just going to feed on that Ravens secondary if they can protect Burrow.
Agreed. And I mean, Chase really is going to benefit. He's coming off a 1 reception for 6-yard game. I think he's going to really bounce back this week. Bills at Patriots.
On that point, did you see Whit Martindale was when asked the question if they were going to double Chase like they did Devontae all game, he's like, no, that's only a once in a or that's not going to happen again. You're not going to see that type of defense again. I wonder if that gives Chase that extra motivation this week to have a big game.
Yeah, I think Chase is gonna have a nice game this week, and I'm hoping so for my fantasy team as well. Bills +2 against the Patriots. I'm gonna take the Bills. I think the Bills are the better team. I think that they avenged the loss that they had at home. I don't know. I think the NFC East is still as wide open as it can get for the two of them.
Yeah, I actually like New England -2 here. It's at home, and I think McDaniels and Belichick are just going to have a good enough game plan to where, last game they beat the Bills with Mac Jones, I think, throwing 3 passes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the Bills they have to if they're going to stop they're probably going to game plan to stop the run, and McDaniels is going to come out with something to be able to beat that pass defense. I mean, they don't have bad weapons in New England, and as long as Jones doesn't turn the ball over, I can see this being a close game. And I actually like the Patriots defense getting the stop over the Bills defense.
I like that. Goff and the Lions go to Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 5.5. I'm going to take the surging Detroit Lions. I think they're coming off a very emotional win. I think Dan Campbell has them working in the right direction. Even if they lose this game, I don't see it by being more than a field goal. So I'm going to take the Lions.
Yeah, I like Detroit +5.5 here as well. I think this team's trying to play for their coach. As crazy as most people think he is, I just think that team really is rallying around him and loves Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think the players really have attached themselves to him, which is a good thing moving into next season where they're going to have another top 3 to 5 pick. So we'll see what happens there. Another 2 teams that will be top 5, Jaguars at the Jets. Jets are favored by only 1 point. The Jaguars still don't look good, really don't have any coaching staff that is motivated to be with the team. It's battle of the 2 rookie quarterbacks that should have been playing much better than they are. I'm going to take the Jets -1 just because they're at home, and I think Saleh is more disciplined than anyone on that staff for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I like the Jets -1 here as well. Yeah, I just agreed. I think Jaguars lost to the Texans when, after firing of a coach, most teams play well. and they did not. So I just think this team's trying to move on to next year. I think, Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if him actually losing for the first time in his career is actually doing something to him, but he just doesn't look great.
Agreed. And then another top 5 draft team, LA Chargers on the road at Houston Texans. Chargers minus 10.5. I think they're going to run all over them after losing a disappointing game against Kansas City. I think that this team's going to come out and just blow the doors off. I wouldn't be surprised if Herbert leads the league in almost every passing category this week, just because their failures on fourth down. I think that this is going to be a completely different game for them.
Yeah. So line's 10.5.
10.5. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like Dave Culley is getting this team to actually play for him. But yeah, I just think the Chargers are too talented. I don't see their defense stopping Herbert in that offense, which I think Eckler might be out this week, or he's on the COVID list.
Yeah, he may or may not play.
So, I mean, that does hurt him a little bit, but I don't see them stopping Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jared Cook anyway. So give me the Chargers minus 10.5 as well.
I'm not sure Justin Jackson's too big of a downgrade either, to be honest with you, though. LA Rams at Minnesota Vikings. Rams favored by 3.5 after watching that Vikings team barely beat the Bears in a game that the Bears really should have been able to take advantage of, being up 200 yards on them. I would say that's got to be the Rams minus 3.5. They're just rolling.
I mean, Minnesota, they're always in close games this year, no matter what. So, yeah, I mean, it's essentially, do you think the Rams are going to beat them by more than a field goal?
Yeah.
I see this is a field goal game for the Rams, so give me Minnesota plus 3.5.
The Giants at Eagles. Eagles are favored by 10 points at home. Now, I know the Giants are bad, but I think that they will cover the plus 10 on this Eagles team. I know the Eagles are moving in the right direction. They are hot. While the Giants, we don't even know who's going to be starting a quarterback for them. Could be Jake Fromm. I just think that 10's a big number in a division game. I'm going to take the plus 10.
Yeah, I mean, 10 is a big number. The Eagles are going to be, I think the Eagles might be a playoff team this year, which at the start of the season, if you're telling me that, I'm going to say you're crazy. I think Nick Sirianni's done a great job. And they have 3 first-round picks in this year's draft coming up. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he keeps him in games. I don't think he's a long-term answer at all at quarterback. I think you need a guy that can get the ball downfield to make this team actually good or better than what it is.
Put in the Pro Bowl.
He did?
Yeah.
As an alternate?
No, I think he beat out Stafford.
Because it says right here that the Pro Bowl rosters were Rodgers, Brady, and Murray.
I'm seeing articles saying that he got his Pro Bowl, or he's in the Pro Bowl.
It might be an alternate then.
Yeah, someone may have already said that they're not going to play in it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he is the alternate.
I mean,
but Mitch Trubisky was an alternate too, so.
Yeah, the one year the Bears were good.
Hey, we went to the playoffs twice.
And lost to the Eagles, actually, to bring it back to this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The Giants are not playing well. I saw something that they're having Jake Fromm as the starter this week. So yeah, I like Philly minus 10 here.
Go Bulldogs. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Carolina. It's a Cam Newton revenge game. Bucs are favored by 10 points. I actually like the Bucs in that game, though. I think that Carolina has nothing going for them. Hopefully they have a kicker this week. That might help them a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay minus 10 as well. I mean, we picked the Bucs in a divisional game. I think they were favored by 10.5 last week, and they got shut out. But I think Tom Brady will have that team motivated to come back.
You rarely see Tom have back-to-back bad games. So
Yeah, I like Tampa -10 here.
Bears at Seahawks. Seahawks are favorited by 6.5. I think that the Seahawks are absolute scams. So give me the Bears plus 6.5. Which, by the way, that defense last week did not play terrible for the Bears. They actually shut down Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins pretty well. If only the play calling on offense wasn't the worst coach game of the past decade.
I heard Thomas Graham had a good game for the Bears.
He did. They actually said statistically, I don't know how ESPN did it, but that Bears coaching was the worst coach game in the past decade.
Nice.
If you don't get fired after that, I don't know how you get fired.
Yeah, so I like Seattle -6.5 here. I mean, you outgain a team by what, 200 yards and still lose?
And really, we're never in the game.
So yeah, I mean, the battle of teams that are not very good, that don't have first round picks right here, that are probably going to miss out on top 10 picks.
Yeah, I would love to know what the statistic is for teams that had 200 plus yards at an advantage, what the record is in those games. I'm sure it's a lot more wins than losses.
Yeah. But
next game is Broncos at Raiders. Raiders are 1-point underdogs to the Broncos. However, I'm still going to take the Broncos. I think the Raiders have really packed it in for the season, even though they are on the playoff verge.
So Drew Lock is the projected starter this week.
Yes.
For the Broncos. Give me the Raiders +1 all day.
I didn't think he played that well or that bad last week. He had a nice touchdown to Tim Patrick.
I saw his stat line. It was like, I think it was like 200 yards, I think 1 touchdown and a fumble.
That's not terrible.
Which isn't terrible, but it's Drew Lock.
Yeah. It's also the Raiders.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Raiders are beating up on teams that don't have their quarterback. So
that's true.
Give me another Raiders victory right here.
The next game is Steelers at Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 8.5. I think this is an easy one for me. I'm going to take the Chiefs to continue rolling through the AFC.
Yeah, I like KC -8.5 here as well. I mean, I'm not going to say the Steelers have packed it in because they're still playing decent football.
Definitely. But
I think Patrick Mahomes is so much better of a quarterback than Big Ben at this point in their careers.
Yeah, there's really no arguing that. And especially if the defense comes to play, I think it's going to be a long day for the Steelers. Washington football team at the Dallas Cowboys. This is our Sunday night game. Cowboys favored by 10.5. I'm going to take Washington just because I think there's a lot more for them to play for. Obviously, Dallas is going to try to clinch the playoffs and the division, whereas the Washington football team is still really battling for the final playoff spot as the wild card team.
And it's 10.5.
10.5.
Yeah, give me Washington football team plus 10.5. I think Taylor Heinicke is going to be able to keep this close.
And then our Monday night game, Dolphins at Saints. Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites. I think the Saints got kind of lucky. They have Ian Book playing this week at starting. So I love the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, but I don't think this is going to be a great game for him to come in and play. I'm going to take Dolphins -2.5, even though they are on the road.
That defense for New Orleans played unbelievable last week. I think they'd have to have another great performance to even give Ian Book a chance in this game. I just think Miami's surging at the right time, and Brian Flores is the rare Bill Belichick disciple that is a good head coach in this league. So yeah, give me Miami -2.5. Hopefully this is the last game of the week.
Hopefully, but we'll see what happens.
Tuesday night football.
I actually really like
mid-afternoon football.
That's what I actually wanted to talk about. I think the NFL should move full time to a Tuesday night game.
I just think that puts teams at such a disadvantage.
So I was trying to think of like how it could work. Imagine if like they only do it middle of the season and like your bye week, before you go on the bye week, they only put teams that are playing on the bye the following week on the Tuesday night game. That way they all have extra rest. Players can get a little bit healthier, and then they still have about 12 days off before their next game.
I mean, there's yeah, I mean, it could work. The NFL is always looking to make money. I think they can't have the start time at what is it, 5 Eastern?
Yeah, it was 4 o'clock Central Time, which was rough. But if you're also planning for that, you could easily make a TV deal with someone. Could be Amazon, because I know they're trying to get really into it. If you have the Amazon 7 o'clock Amazon Prime Tuesday night football game at 7 o'clock, I think it works.
Yeah, I mean, so far through one quarter of play, looks like our 49ers pick's going well.
Yeah, Wilson ran in the touchdown, correct?
Yeah.
So that's who that backup running back was. So Jimmy G, 8 for 8, 104 yards through the first quarter. Pretty good stat line, showing that he should be a starter in this league, as he probably always should have been. Kind of shutting down the Trey Lance talks pretty early.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy G has a Super Bowl appearance in his career and had that team winning that game. And he just throws a pick.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
It's a little ahead of mine. Yeah, any other news really around the league that you want to talk about?
I can't really think of any. Let me look at
I mean, Le'Veon Bell goes from NFL free agent to to professional boxer to NFL running back for the Buccaneers in about 6 days. So that was cool.
Yeah, I will say one thing. The Bucs have now added Leonard Fournette and Levante David to injured reserve.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be rough. I mean,
so they're
I think
out
we're
there
still like we don't know what's gonna be Mike Evans' status for Sunday.
Yeah, so I mean, you're without your top running back, you're without your leader on your defense,
possibly your 2 top wide receivers. Antonio Brown will be coming back this week. You're out your running back.
Yeah, I mean,
Gronk is in the lineup again, so that's good.
I think it just shows this team was so lucky with health last year.
Yeah, but I mean, if they do it again, it's gonna be hard to argue it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much all of the NFL news that I can really gather up.
Yeah, same.
The Ravens only had 13 players at practice today. So that could be a real issue. Who did we say the Ravens play? The Bengals?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real chance that game could be a forfeit.
Which, I mean, is it bet for the NFL at this point? They can't reschedule any games. So if they can't move that to Tuesday night with these players testing negative, I think the Ravens just have to forfeit, and then they go to 8-7, and their playoff hopes are pretty much down the drain, I think.
I think you have to give them a fighting chance. You got to at least let them play. It's pretty much what you did for the Browns. So we'll see what happens there. Not much else to really talk about on this episode. It's kind of a short one.
I mean, too bad our boy Gars isn't here with massive Notre Dame fan with Ian Book starting this weekend. I think
I was speaking with Gars, and Gars is currently preparing for his brand new podcast, Chatting Around Campus, an NFL or an NCAA football podcast that he will be debuting as early as this summer. So that actually was a perfect little segue into it. We're still trying to figure out who's going to be his co-host, because I'm not going to do it because I'm on way too many shows, as well as you are. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But that was a good little segment that you didn't know that you were putting me into.
Yep.
But yeah, he'll be doing weekly predictions on Power 5 games. He's hoping to do a couple of campus visits and doing live shows from fraternity front yards, which if he's doing a pick'em show, I probably will be on that because I love to bet on games.
And if you're picking with Gars, bet the opposite.
Yeah, and I have a feeling if he's going to be doing a full-on pick'em show and he's going two campuses, I think you'll end up getting involved as well. But we'll see kind of where that develops. I'm sure it's going to be some time before he can gather those connections to be able to just show up at fraternity front yards. And I'm also not going to trust it if he just tells me we're just going to show up at this fraternity. I need proof.
Oh yeah, then I'll get into it. So last week, me and Jacob both went 8-8 in our picks. For the season, Jacob is 73, 98, and 1.
No 100 losses yet.
And I am 84, 89, and 1.
So how many games back am I? 9?
Yep, you are 9 games back with 3 weeks to go.
And how many differences did we even have this week? I feel like we only had like 3.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 differences.
So I have to really win out on those.
So I don't know. Do I implement the strategy of just picking with you, or?
Well, then maybe from now on I'll have you start picking first. But yeah, no, we'll figure out something for the winner of this for this year. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got. Happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas. It's been fun. We'll see you guys after Christmas, right before New Year's. Sam, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, yeah. Happy holidays. Be safe, everyone. And yeah, I'm just happy for Christmas Day football.
Oh, and join our Discord. We're putting the link inside of the description of the video / podcast. Depending on how you're looking at this, if you're on YouTube or if you are listening through one of the streaming services, join our Discord. We'll be talking gambling on there. We even have a gambling safe space where you can just vent out how much you hate the teams that you bet on because they were either bad beats or just not the upset that you were hoping for. We also have a celebration zone in there, so maybe you'll see me in there. Maybe you won't. Maybe me or Herlash will jump on there on Sunday when I'm getting blown out again, and we'll move on from there. Peace, guys.
Yep. See you next time.